Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Joe.
So what is it that you're seeing today?
Well, I was just found out. Excuse me. My mother passed away, and I guess the biggest part of that is just dealing with the guilt of not. We didn't have a good relationship at all. I mean, I hadn't spoken to her in probably 10 years, and so I'm trying to communicate. Trying to work through all of that and the guilt of thinking, well, maybe I could have done something, and trying to explain to my daughters. My sons don't really know her because we had a broken relationship, so we didn't really, they don't even know. They know they had a grandma, but that's about it. So I'm just trying to work through those issues and processing all of that, thinking about, if I should have done something, not done something, and
Right.
so, it's,
First of all, I'm sorry for your loss.
thank you.
And are you feeling regret maybe that you should have picked up your relationship with her before, or just sad in general that she passed and so you won't get to now?
Yeah, I guess more of, I mean, obviously I can't change the fact that she's gone, I can't change the past, but I guess is my regrets of thinking more so of what I could have done, to repair that relationship before, she passed away, so at least we would, end on good terms, I
Right.
guess,
Now, did she make any attempts to repair the relationship with you before?
No, she's kind of always been to herself, and I think she got to a point in her own life where she didn't. She felt probably hopeless, and we went to her home this past weekend, to kind of get some stuff and see what the situation was, and all of the pictures of us, of myself and my daughters. She didn't have any of my sons again because she didn't really know them. And were in a closet. They were hanging up. They weren't with. There were few other pictures, not a lot, but family pictures wise, that's what was there. One of my sister, and then everything else of us, my mom, myself, my wife, were all, put away. And, so I want to get all that because I want to be able to tell my sons about their grandma, but, help them remember her in a good way and not, as just someone that was there. So, she didn't really make any repairs, any attempts. And we tried. She changed phone numbers a lot, and so, we tried to follow up with my sister every so often to see if she had a phone number or an email address or something like that that would help us to get in contact with her. But every time we'd go there, we moved down here a few years ago, and so we go out there once in a while, and every time we go to her house, she wouldn't answer the door. And so I was like, how much more am I can I do?
Right.
And her house, she was a textbook definition of a hoarder. So her house hasn't been for many years a safe place for children. And that was, when my daughters were younger and when I was, even now. So it's like, what do you do? So I can only go so much
On your end.
on my end.
Right.
So
How did it make you feel when you seen that those pictures were put away?
I expected that. I
So
knew.
you weren't shocked at all?
No. No. I was really shocked. She lived in a trailer park, so because of her being in that trailer park, she had to maintain the outside of the house clean. But the inside of the house, it was not a safe place. My sons stayed outside and played outside while I went in. And, so I was just shocked at that more than anything. Just, I didn't realize it had gotten so bad. And for me, what that meant is, okay, well, how do I, help, not just myself, but other people in knowing and understanding, you know, whatever she may have been dealing with, so that, you know, if there's somebody else in their life, they can better understand them. You know, because part of her issue was she was alone. She didn't have anybody. And so, you know what that's like when you don't have somebody that's with you all the time, you feel like, you know, feel alone, hopeless, you know. And I could tell by looking at some of the things in her home that she wanted to change. She had a lot of new appliances, cleaning equipment, but she'd buy that and then it would end up in a corner because she just felt hopeless. This was it's probably a 2 or 3 day job to clean out that house. Yeah, because hoarders, that's what.
Do you think maybe she was doing that to suppress some other emotion that she was going through to fill a void?
She's always had issues, and I've talked to her sister, my aunt, about this years ago, that she's always had, mental issues.
Oh.
I never really been diagnosed because she grew up in an era in the 50s when it wasn't socially acceptable to have somebody in their family that was,
Right,
you know.
sick was if you had physical symptoms from
Yeah.
the doctor, not really up
No.
here.
No.
Right.
And if she had done that, then maybe her issues could have been addressed, whatever they were. I will never know that now, but, I struggle with that, and I want, in the sense of also wanting to be an advocate for people, for families, for kids who have, who are maybe displaying some signs of possible mental issues, so you can.
How to seek help for them, for their
Yeah.
family members, or whatever it
Yeah.
may be in their life.
So, but I guess in terms of my mother, it's like, what do I do as far as communicating that with my kids? Because, is it something, mental illness in a lot of ways can be hereditary,
Mhm.
and I don't want my kids to, ever be alone or to the point where they get to feel like they're alone and don't communicate with somebody or have people. Thankfully, my daughters are both married, so they've got husbands, people that'll be with them,
Right.
so, it's just kind of something that was just thrown in our laps.
Right. And how old do you say it was this?
Well, we found out about it on the 15th, but it looks like she died on the 10th. Because of her, she wasn't out a lot. And so because of that, no one knew anything. The only way they knew something was when the rent was late, and they sent the police to do a wellness check on her.
And did she have anybody that she was close to?
She had some friends, people in her trailer park. She lived in the same park for probably 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So she'd been there, she knew people, had friends there, but no family members. And she hadn't talked to my sister in about 8 years. I think the last time we saw her was about 8 years ago when my father passed away.
At what point in your life did the relationship start to go south? Was it always, or was it just after your father passed?
No, I think it was probably when I got married, which seems kind of natural in a lot of ways. I said some things to her that were probably bothersome and offensive, but, I guess I didn't say them meaning to really break the relationship, but I was just letting her know, this is my wife,
Right.
and this is not gonna change. And so she, from that point on, we haven't had a stable relationship at all. And so, you know, it just went south from there. I asked her for forgiveness, and so I did my part, but it just didn't work.
Right. And I think that's the main thing to realize is that there's only so much you can do
Yeah.
on your part. You know, there's two parties involved,
Mm-hmm.
but now that she's gone and, you know, there's no more, what can she do, what can I do? I think moving forward after hearing what you said today, you know, like you said, you wanna be an advocate for people who have family members or they know somebody who may have mental illness and being an advocate so that they can get help and realizing that right now, that's a big step to do.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe seeing the benefits from that will help you, you know, deal with your mother's passing.
Yeah.
Even though she is gone and you can't fix that relationship anymore, your work will maybe help somebody
Yeah.
else fix their relationship or, you know,
Yeah.
prevent that from happening.
Yeah,
So I think
definitely.
leaving today, that would be, you know,
Okay.
the main focus is to
Okay.
help prevent that with someone else. And maybe those good feelings will help you with your own mother.
Okay. Cool. All right.